Welcome to the OnlyFans Secrets Marketing Podcast. The goal of this podcast is to help both new and established OnlyFans creators learn the basics of online branding, marketing, and promotion to help you make more money with your content and maximize your time online. My name is Richard Lewis, and I have over 20 years of internet marketing experience. So let's get started with today's topic. And that topic is OnlyFans SEO, how to optimize your page for Google. So as I may have mentioned in previous podcasts, I have been working in search marketing for over 20 years. So in this episode, I wanted to teach you how to best optimize your OnlyFans page for success in search engines like Google. So there are several pretty easy steps that you can take to maximize your chances, basically for free Google traffic into your OnlyFans page. So first, let's go over two core concepts, which is what is SEO and what are search algorithms. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, which basically means it's optimizing a page or site to rank well for specific keywords in a search engine. And then a search algorithm is the process by which a search engine determines what sites or pages rank well or at all for keyword terms. So those are both very important concepts to understand, as SEO is basically sometimes used as a verb, which is, it's like an action, like someone is SEOing a page. It basically means they're optimizing that page to hopefully perform better. And what they're performing it for is the search algorithm. Now, obviously, the search algorithms for most sites, especially for Google, are not written down. They don't say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do to rank well in our search engine. So what people do is they figure out, secondary companies figure out, okay, this works well, this doesn't work well, this is what you should be doing. And also, search algorithms are constantly evolving and changing. So once someone figures out, a technique that works well, they then will, the algorithm will then be changed up so that people can't manipulate it. So over the last 20 or so years, Google has changed their algorithm constantly to stay ahead of people who might be trying to manipulate it. But luckily, there are base factors that are always good, that you can always utilize, and that Google and other search engines will always appreciate. Okay, so you're probably asking, why would your OnlyFans page rank well, even if it was new or obscure? So say you just created your OnlyFans page and you're thinking, why would Google or any search engine care about that page? Well, they do care about it because of a concept called domain authority. So domain authority basically is the links going into a site determining its ranking power. So just think of it as like, if a whole bunch of people with credentials in the music industry said this person is really good at singing and really good at recording music, then it would be a whole bunch of quality checks, on that particular music artist. Now, if the only people who were saying the music artist was good was their family and a couple of their friends, those checks wouldn't be as significant. And so therefore, it's sort of the same concept. So it's like the better the links that go into a page, the more likely a search engine is to say, okay, this must actually be a high quality page. So what happens with a site like OnlyFans is it has millions and millions of links going to its domain. So some of those are going to be not so great and some are going to be amazing. So what happens is that domain authority trickles down at the page level. So when you create a page, it immediately gets some of that, what is referred to as link juice. It gets some of that link authority coming down into it. And there's also the concept of page authority. So you gain association or you gain authority from your association to OnlyFans. So as soon as you create that page, and as soon as you create that username, it's now associated to a powerful domain. So Google will then pay attention to it. If OnlyFans did not have all of those links going into it, and you were to create a page somewhere else or on your own, you would have to build up all of that domain authority. So this is why you want to make sure to work on these factors, because you're already kind of at a head start, and Google and other search engines are already going to pay attention to OnlyFans. And as soon as you create a page on OnlyFans, or the page that you currently have on OnlyFans, it's going to get those credentials. Okay, so let's go over optimizing for your OnlyFans page. Okay, so let's start with your OnlyFans profile. So your OnlyFans profile can and should be optimized for search engines. Much like a web page without optimization won't do as well, an OnlyFans page not optimized will also suffer. Keep in mind that OnlyFans itself has an internal search engine for users that, to use. So that means that your username and display name also will factor in if people are doing internal searches on on OnlyFans itself. So that will also help in that way. So your OnlyFans display name, as we've gone over, is different than the username. This is the name that you can change consistently. You have up to 40 different characters. Your username is the one that appears at the end of your URL line. So when I'm talking about your display name, keep in mind that that's the name that your people are seeing for you, not the name at the end of your URL. So to Google, your OnlyFans display name acts as your Google page title. Now you might have heard of meta titles before, or meta, factors. So a meta is basically something that's within the website itself. And there's a meta title, there's a meta description, and there used to be, and still are, meta keywords, but Google doesn't pay attention to meta keywords anymore because people would stuff those with all sorts of things. So primarily right now, they just pay attention to a meta title and a meta description. Now, the way that OnlyFans is set up is that when you create a web page, the display name is your meta title. So there are rules for keeping your meta title below 60 characters as far as what's going to be displayed on Google, but this is already taken care of for you because they limit you to 40 characters on OnlyFans. So anything you're going to write there is going to end up being displayed in the search engines. So that's a good thing. So whatever you write is going to be your meta title. And a meta title is a ranking factor when it comes to search engines. So typically a meta description is not, but a meta title is a very important factor. So you're thinking right away, whatever you're naming your display name is very important. So basically the ranking factor is something that is one of the signals that Google uses to rank one site over another in its search engine. So, what are best practices then when creating a good title for Google? Now, what I would do here is I would put your username first, and then I would have a dash or a line afterwards, and I would have keyword and then another keyword. So an example would be if your name was Vampire Girl 9, and that's your username, then it would be Vampire Girl / or dash, and then example, busty brunette pics. So again, no one's going to be confused that they're on the wrong person because it's still going to say your username. So that's for OnlyFans itself. But then you're going to go ahead and target. And again, you can target whatever. I'm just using this as an example. That might be a very competitive keyword to target. But especially if you're in something that's niche, you can go ahead and put in there whatever you can. And it has a possibility then of ranking in Google. So remember that almost no one on OnlyFans is going to pay attention to the words in your display name other than the identifying purpose. So you don't want to sell out your whole display name and get confusing. You want to make sure that your name is first followed by appropriate keywords. If you are known for one niche item like pictures or videos, try to include that in the display name. That way when people are searching on search engines off of OnlyFans, they will find you. A good number of people search specific, ethnic and body features as well. You can, definitely include those. And, definitely you want to mix it up. And you also want to just kind of look and see, okay, well, what's ranking right now? Especially if you do a search on Google and you see OnlyFans in the top 10 right now, and you see a creator that might not have as many followers or pictures, videos, media as you do. Again, the way that OnlyFans is going to be ranked is going to be the activity that's on the page. You'll often find there'll be 2 or 3 different results for OnlyFans, and the higher the amount of activity, number of pictures, the more likely it seems that Google is going to rank that page well. Okay, so next I want to go over optimizing your OnlyFans images for Google. Now, I know what you're going to say here. I don't want any of my images from my OnlyFans page in Google search. I agree. They are behind a paywall for a reason, and you are very correct that you don't want them being searched. But keep in mind that your banner and bio image are in front of the paywall and are displayed frequently when your name is searched in search engines. I definitely see this all the time. If you search someone that's on OnlyFans, you'll see that bio picture come up. So if you optimize it correctly, you can be sure that people will see you have an OnlyFans page when they search your image. Also, when others use those images, it will also mention your OnlyFans. So what I would do is I would use the following format with all of your OnlyFans in front of the paywall image, as well as images on your OnlyFans, only social media. So I would have, basically a tip would be, you want to name your image appropriately before you place it, on OnlyFans. So, one easy way to do this I've found is to put the image on a free Google Drive. Now, again, remember, these are not 18 plus images. These are just the front of the paywall images. These are images you're going to use for your social media. I wouldn't put something on a Google Drive that you don't want everyone to see. So I basically put it on a Google Drive, and when you send the image to the Google Drive from your phone, you can rename it however you want to, which makes it really easy to organize. And that way you're not, fumbling around with where file systems and trying to figure out how you can rename a file. So the format that you should use should be username-onlyfans-keyword-keyword.jpg, or whatever the file extension that you have. So again, that's username-onlyfans-keyword-keyword. So once again, you are placing appropriate keywords, in your profile. So again, this is going to help because these are things that are actually being read by Google. They're reading the name of those images. So if you're trying to appear for busty brunette pics and you have it in your display name, and there's only so much that's in front of that paywall, which makes that every little bit of information that Google is reading that much more powerful. So they're reading that image, and that image has more keywords in it. Plus what you're doing with the actual page itself, Google's going to respond to that. It might sound a little weird, but that's how they're going to look at it, because at that point, it's a limited amount of content on a high authority site, and they need to figure out what keywords they should be ranking this page for. So you definitely want to take that extra effort to make your images more optimized. The next thing we want to go over is your actual bio information. So it is important to keep in mind that typically the display information you see in search results is a meta description. We went over that a little bit earlier. The meta description is one of the many of the meta tags. And that is usually planned and written out by the page's creator. So there's 2 different ways you'll see it. You'll see it where it's just the first content